From the Oklahoma newsroom, this is a Thunder update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Joe Masato, Thunder beat writer. Joe, a little break for the Thunder, at least in NBA terms. This has been a break. 3 games, 3 off days between games for the Thunder, and really after the way that game at Milwaukee went, they might have needed an extra day or two to sort of gather themselves. As you look back on that and you think what's ahead for the Thunder, how does that game play in, if at all, to what's ahead for the Thunder?
You know, I don't think it plays in a ton. It's such a huge outlier when you look at how good they've been this season. This is a Thunder team that really hasn't been blown out all that much. I mean, they've only lost by more than 20 points one time before that 47-point loss to Milwaukee. Milwaukee hadn't played since Tuesday. The Thunder were playing on the second night of a back-to-back. The Bucks were without Chris Middleton. Thunder were without Danilo Gallinari. I think it's, talking to Billy Donovan yesterday, he said they're not even going to watch film over that. They've already moved on.
Well, that's probably a good thing, considering when you say 47 points, it still feels jarring to hear that number. But they did have these 3 off days, no games over the weekend, no game Monday. Tuesday, the Clippers come to town the first night of a back-to-back. And then some winnable games at Detroit, at New York before the week is out. But this Clippers game, this feels like a little bit of a litmus test after what we saw at Milwaukee. Clippers expected to be one of those top teams, are one of those top teams in the West. What's the challenge for the Thunder against the Clippers?
Well, they've played the Clippers a couple times this year, but not when both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard have been healthy, so that totally changes things. And Paul George's second time back, but still a lot of emotion and buzz in the arena because of that, playing one of the top teams in the West. So after you've already played the best team in the NBA, I think you want to come back and have a pretty good performance against another top team, or else it sort of continues this thing we've seen from the Thunder where, they beat up on the bad teams and have a really good record against teams below 500, but they haven't fared all that well against kind of the upper echelon teams.
How does the challenge change? We assume we'll see both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George in this game on Tuesday night. How does the challenge change for the Thunder if they're full strength again, if Danilo Gallinari returns and all things go as planned? What's the biggest challenge for them as they face this Clippers team?
Yeah, I think it's just matching up against those guys. I mean, Paul George was their defensive stopper last year. Jeremy Grant was another guy. Obviously, you don't have Paul George, you don't have Jeremy Grant. You've got Terrence Ferguson, Lou Dort, sort of some undersized wings. There's really not an obvious guy to put on those superstars for the Clippers. So guarding one of them is challenging enough, but 2 of them on the same floor, that's a team that not a lot of people have seen yet. The Clippers have been so banged up, it's into March now, and we don't know what their ceiling looks like. So maybe we'll get a hint of it tomorrow.
It sounds like, listening to Doc Rivers, it sounds like they're kind of starting to find a flow. They beat Philadelphia over the weekend. Philadelphia without some of its star power. So, yes, a good win, but maybe not as good as it would have been had Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons been available for the Sixers. But it sounds like the Clippers are starting to feel like they're finding a rhythm out there. Is that your sense of where they are right now?
Yeah, I think that's right, and just in time for them as the playoffs get closer and closer. And, injuries have sort of maybe stunted their progress so far. Mm-hmm. But with all of their guys back, that's going to be a really fun matchup, especially with the storylines you have with Paul George. And then on the other side, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari going against their old teams.
And by the way, Patrick Beverley will be here too, just for
Beverley.
Kicks. Just for kicks and old time's sake. All right, that's a 7 o'clock start on Tuesday night. Should be a good one out at the Peak. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at Oklahoman.com and